It's just this year has a whole lot riding on it, and there's a bunch of places to keep a true eye on. Well, guys, training camp is upon us, and finally, the 2021 season for the Dallas Cowboys is about to begin. In this video, we're going to be doing a prelude and just an overall look at what the Cowboys are going to need to do in this training camp to really put the building blocks in place for a possible run to the playoffs this season. Now, before we get started, if you guys could do me a solid favor and leave a like on this video, it helps the channel out in YouTube's algorithm, and it overall shows that you support the channel a lot. On top of that, if you're new, I do recommend subscribing. About 94% of you guys that are watching are not subscribed, so I recommend doing that and hitting the notification bell if you haven't done so already, so you are notified when new content drops and you don't miss out on the latest content with training camp and other such. Now, another thing I should add is that since the Cowboys will be on Hard Knocks, and considering I do have HBO Max and just going to be watching it, I will be reacting to each episode because I'm really interested to see how the Cowboys do look on Hard Knocks and how it's portrayed. Especially since it's the Cowboys, so we'll be seeing that in the coming weeks. Now, to start things off, the key training camp battles. Where do we need to look to get a sense of how well Dallas is going to do? So, if you are someone that's going to be looking into training camp the first time, I do recommend keeping an eye out on the quarterback position, more specifically the backups. I think it's a given that Garrett Gilbert is the basics. He's basically the starter. So, so I understand that everyone's going to be looking at this and be like, Space, why are you even bothering highlighting this? Because we don't know how these other guys are going to do. Ben DiNucci, how's he going to look in year 2? I'm not expecting much, but I want to see how does Garrett Gilbert do as the number 2 guy. Like, is he going to perform well so where it's like, okay, we're comfortable? And we saw it from last year. I think if he didn't play last year, we'd have a completely different type of conversation. But considering the fact Garrett Gilbert played admirably against the Pittsburgh Steelers, I think that I could trust him for a game or two. So, moving on, the offensive line. The offensive line and the backups behind them is important to keep an eye out on. How is Tyron, Lyle, and Zach going to look? Considering the fact that injuries ravaged the line last year, are they going to be able to hold up? So, keep an eye out on those young guys and Tyler Biadasz. How's Connor Williams going to do going into this next year? Can he emerge as a Pro Bowler type of guy? Josh Ball. You have Connor McGovern. Those guys you need to keep an eye out on because, and you can throw in Brandon Knight and other guys in there. If these guys can emerge as solid backups, I think that we will be fine. We saw last year that you really had the pieces to have solid backups, and that's something that we've needed. We haven't had a solid backup plan because we thought that, hey, you know what? We have the best offensive line in football, so there's no need to grab these other guys. But I do fully believe that this is going to be one of the biggest positions to keep an eye out on offensively. I think that the tight end position is another group to keep an eye on. I think receiver, it's going to be fun seeing how those guys do. If you're going to, look at receivers, honestly, it's going to be who's going to be your 4th and 5th guy. I don't know if Dallas holds on to 6 receivers. And I know I talked about this last year. Is Cedric Wilson a lock for your number 4? Right now he is. I think Noah Brown's your number 5. And then unless Simi really showcases himself and knocks them both off, I think that it's a given that it's going to be the same guys from last year. And then going back to the tight end position, now that we see with what Dalton Schultz can do, is Blake Jarwin truly that guy? Or are they going to run 2 tight end sets and all this other stuff? We don't know. I think that it's a good problem to have with all the weapons, who's going to get the ball. And I think that we'd be kidding ourselves saying that and especially if you are someone that is not a Cowboys fan, I think that Dallas is going to have one of, if not the best offense in the league next year. I don't want you to be saying all this other crap. Don't lie to yourself. And then Tony Pollard. How's Tony Pollard going to be looking this, in this training camp? Because we haven't seen a whole lot of him ever since we drafted him. Sure, you have those moments where he gets the ball and he's explosive. I want to see him in the receiving game. I really do. He has that potential to really, get creative on offense. If Kellen Moore really has the ability to do what he wants, I think that we should see Tony Pollard more. Plain and simple. Now, the defensive side of the ball is a completely different circumstance. So, we know what happened last year. And myself, all the content creators on YouTube for the Cowboys, and you guys watching, I'm pretty sure we're all going to be watching this defense to see how it's coming together in Hard Knocks, training camp, etc. So, we got to keep an eye out on all of the positions on defense. If there's a key position to hone in on, it's got to be linebacker. Micah Parsons, your first-round pick, this electric young defensive stud, is going to be coming in and really making an impact. How is he going to translate to the NFL? Does this impact LVE and Jalen Smith? That's going to be a huge storyline. On top of that, with Jabril Cox coming into the picture, does this mean that Jalen and LVE, are they done? Obviously not. But that's going to be a huge focal point. On top of that, these corners, and even the front seven, more, with the corners, you lost, Chidobe Awuzie, and Dallas, is trying to replace Byron Jones, and there's a possibility that they're able to with Trevon Diggs. But we need to see how these young guys in Kelvin Joseph and Nahshon Wright do. You still got Reggie Robinson in there, and you need to give these guys an opportunity. Plain and simple. I just don't know if these young guys can fully step up. And I'm not asking them to be Pro Bowlers and All-Pros day one. I'm just asking them to do their job. If Dallas can have a top 20 defense, I think that this team is set to make a playoff run. Not saying a deep playoff run, but I think they can make some noise. It's just, this year has a whole lot riding on it. And there's a bunch of places to keep a true eye on. It's not like last year where it's like, okay, we're running this back. It's the same team more or less with a couple tweaks. Let's just get go on a deep run. A lot of people thought that that's what we needed, was just the new coach and we're good. Looks like we needed a lot more. So I'm hoping with Dan Quinn, Mike McCarthy, and Kellen Moore, if those three can come together and make a uniform decision, in terms of what's going to happen, and they get their guys, I don't really care. Dallas has to capitalize. The NFC East is weak. They definitely are the best team and the favorite to win the division. I don't care about Washington. I don't care about New York. And I don't care about Philly. This is the time to strike. Dallas has the opportunity to really take the division and have a chance to make a run in the playoffs. As long as you're in the tournament, anything can happen. You have a healthy Dak Prescott back. He's ready to roll. As long as he's there, Dallas has a chance to make the playoffs. And and I think that based off of how these teams are looking, I think the only team that really can challenge you is Washington. That's not saying much. They don't have the quarterback there. Oh, they go Ryan Fitzpatrick. He ain't nothing. He's not someone that you can rely on long term. I'm not saying he's terrible, but it's just not the guy. I don't think any of these teams have their guy yet. They have to emerge. So I don't want to, keep going on and on, but that is my preview for training camp. I can't wait to see those types of battles. Leave down below in the comments how you feel about the upcoming training camp and the overall season. What is your vibe and all this other stuff? So I can't wait, guys, for training camp to get started. I'm pretty sure you can't wait either. So I'll catch you guys in the next one, and we'll be getting into all of these storylines and all that other stuff. So have a great day, guys. Bye-bye.